Hi, I'm Sarah, and I destroyed my family when I found out what my mom had been hiding from my dad. My parents have always been a little boring. Dad works hard, but doesn't make much money. My mom works as a substitute teacher. A few months ago, I noticed that my mother had changed. She put makeup on more often, lightened her hair color, and got a facelift. She also bought a couple of new dresses. I thought she was doing it for my dad, but she started spending fewer evenings with us and instead would go to her room with a laptop. Then she found a job at a school in the next town over. She started coming home very late, and one time, she didn't even come home at all. I talked to my dad about it, but he simply replied that my mother had stayed overnight with a friend, so she wouldn't have to travel so late at night. Dad didn't notice what a bitch Mom was becoming. When my mom bought herself another new bag from Yves Saint Laurent, I was in shock. So I decided to follow her and figure out what was going on. I had to spend money on a taxi. When my mother left for work, I told the driver to follow her. She only drove a few blocks, parked her car, and got into a brand new Mercedes. Some strange man was driving. I called my mom. She replied in her usual voice that she was in the middle of teaching a lesson and couldn't talk. I could barely restrain myself from ripping her a new one right then and there. Oh, that's quite a lesson you're teaching there in a Mercedes. I don't remember how I got home. I couldn't believe what I had seen that day. While Dad was making dinner, I took her laptop. Weird that she didn't have a password to log in. I looked at what she had opened lately, and my gaze froze. On a site for mistresses. Using the search history, I immediately found my mother's profile. Take the laptop and smash it against the wall. Scream at the top of my lungs so that Dad would come running and I would tell him everything. That's what I wanted to do. But I could hardly hold back my tears as I looked at her photos on the site. I had never seen her like that. They were vulgar and revealing photos. In her interests, it said dating, sponsorship. It all became very clear to me. Dad set the table and said that we would be having dinner without Mom because she was running late. Since she's having dinner and not only having dinner with someone else, I thought to myself, I really wanted to tell him. But first, I wanted to talk to her. Mom came back while we were watching TV. She immediately went to take a shower because she was tired. I hated to think of what exactly had made her so tired. I approached her in the kitchen. Her robe slipped slightly off her shoulder, and I noticed a hickey on her neck. Are you kidding me? What was she, 15? But now it was obvious why she had wrapped herself up in it. I told her that I knew everything. She smiled and asked what I was talking about. She was about to walk out, but then I grabbed her by the arm and loudly called her by her profession. She turned pale. She hissed, "Keep your voice down." I laid out everything that I had learned about her. I thought she was about to burst into tears and beg me to forgive her, but her pupils dilated and she squeezed my arm until it hurt. She told me that I didn't know what it's like to not have money for anything, that I had everything and would get even more, college, a car, and expensive stuff, because she would be providing for me and not my beloved daddy. And how dare I judge her, and that if I even thought about telling my dad, she would shut me up. After that, she calmly sat down to drink her weight loss tea. I was in shock. I hope it gives you diarrhea. After our conversation, my mother started leaving home even more. She would come back with new hickeys hidden under designer scarves, a disheveled appearance, and smeared lipstick. She could tell that I didn't dare tell Dad the truth, and it only emboldened her. One day, she handed me her expensive purse and told me that it was from the previous collection and that she only had things that were new. She was mocking me. I decided that I had to put that bitch in her place. I was terribly nervous while waiting for my dad to come home from work, and when he did come home, I told him that I had something important to tell him, and he should pour himself a whiskey. He looked frightened, and I told him that it was about Mom. I put my mother's laptop in front of him, showing her profile on that website. He went silent for a long time and clicked through the photos. Then I couldn't stand it any longer and told him about how I had followed her and confronted her about it, and that she had forbidden me from telling him. Dad downed another drink and said, "Let's take this call girl to a restaurant. Do you remember that really expensive one that she always wanted to go to? Message her and tell her to block out her schedule for the whole evening." I created an account, uploaded a couple photos of some fake millionaire, and texted my mom. She replied that she would only be able to do it on Thursday the next week. Apparently, she had a busy schedule. We had to be patient and pretend everything was normal for another week. When she came to that restaurant, my father and I joined her after a few minutes. She wasn't expecting it at all. She realized that I had told him everything and that she was busted. Dad didn't say anything and just stared at her. She stared back insolently and arrogantly, and then suddenly burst into tears. Then my father apologized for not making a lot of money and told her to order whatever she wanted, because it was the last time he would do something for her. The next day, he was going to move out and file for divorce. Dad did as he had said. Mom asked me to stay with her, but I hated even looking at her. I knew that my dad needed my support now. I went with him. Yeah, I don't have a happy family anymore, but I also don't have a family with everyone lying to each other. Well, that was my story. Thank you for listening, and be sure to write in the comments what you would have done in my position. Has anything like that ever happened to you?
Hey bros, my name is Rick. I listen to rap. Today, I'm going to tell you my unusual story and how I fell in love with my dad's housekeeper and how it all turned out. My dad is very rich, not like Bill Gates, but not bad either. We live in a big house. Me, Dad, and a dog named Damien. Which name do you like more, Rick or Damien? I like Damien, and I feel like Dad gave his dog a better name than his son. My mom died when I was 3 years old, according to my father. As I already mentioned, our house is very large, and Dad is a very busy man, so there were all sorts of strange girls cleaning up our property. Honestly, until I was 15, I didn't even pay attention to them. Dad's housekeepers, that is. But then something clicked inside me. Guys, you know what I'm talking about. I started watching them closely. They cleaned our house so beautifully. So after the dismissal of our last cleaning lady, she showed up. Katie, that was her name. I was 17 at the time, and she was 22. It was my first real love. Long legs, a cute face and body. Oh my god, her curves. That amazing girl even did stretches at our house when she had a spare minute. Since I wasn't at all shy around girls, I walked right over and introduced myself to her. No problem. That evening, I decided to get to know her better. We were sitting in the living room, sipping tea and talking. I told her about my school life, and she told me about her adult life. She probably wasn't very interested in listening to a 17-year-old, but she at least kept listening to me and smiling. When she started talking about herself, she put her hand on my knee. It was so nice. She told me that she hated school, so she dropped out. She worked as a dancer at a men's club. Then she got up, turned on the music, and danced for me. And then I went nuts. Oh my god, we had our own in-house model, a professional dancer. Basically, I got to know everything about her that night. I would sit in class and think all day about when I would finally get to go home and see her again. Every time she bent over to get something off the floor, I would watch her. She was the only girl I didn't want Dad to fire. One night, she was cleaning up my room when we got into a conversation and got closer. I could see her lips. Oh, I thought there would never be a better moment than this, especially since she didn't mind. She was letting me get so close to her. And then I leaned closer to kiss her. I closed my eyes, did everything like in the movies. But she just freaked out and stepped to the side. You should have seen the look of surprise on her face. She said, chuckling, "Are you crazy? They'll throw me in jail." And she continued to giggle. I felt so freaking awkward. But then she stopped laughing and said seriously, "Do you want me to teach you?" She set aside all of her cleaning supplies and came up to me. We kissed. It was simply incredible. I still remember that moment. After the kiss, she smiled, put on gloves, and went to clean up the dog shit in our yard. An incredible girl. I was in heaven until one day, I came home early. Dad was home, so I immediately thought to myself, no kisses today. I saw her gloves, the vacuum cleaner, and her uniform, and I heard some sounds coming from the second floor. Oh, I knew what it was. Dad was giving it to her. I immediately realized what they were doing up there and decided just to leave the house so that neither myself nor them would be embarrassed. I was gone for an hour and a half. I wondered how I was going to kiss a girl who was also kissing my father. And not only kisses. Gross! Okay, fine. So when I approached her again, I tried to hint at her that it was time for us to do our thing. She answered, "Let's stop with the games. I know you're going through puberty, but chill, man." Pfft, no one had ever done me like that before. Girls were usually chasing after me because they knew I was from a wealthy family. But this bimbo had the nerve to talk to me like that. At first, she was smiling at me, but now she had switched to my father. I saw her become more and more flirtatious with Dad. He would either pinch her or put his arm around her. I had gotten sick of it. One time, they were cuddling and watching television. I wouldn't even be telling this disastrous story, if not for what had happened. My most ingenious plan of revenge. When nobody was home, I let Damien into the house. I brought a few piles of dog shit and scattered them around the house. When she arrived, she was in shock. And when Dad arrived, he was even more shocked. Our cleaning lady hadn't kept track of the dog. Of course, they found out that I was to blame. A few days later, she came up to me and pressed me up against the wall. She said something like, "You stupid little asshole, don't mess with my work." I don't know, but it seemed to me like she was only interested in my father's money, which really bothered me. The situation with Damien and the shit piles was repeated more often, and I started littering and throwing everything on the floor. After several such stunts, my father decided to have a serious talk with me. I already didn't care, so I proudly told him that I had sucked face with his housewife. I thought he would give me a slap on the face and tear me a new one. But it went like this. "Wow, really? Awesome. Well, I'm sleeping with her," he said, chuckling. To be honest, it freaked me out a little. I saw my dad differently then. Man, I love my dad. He understood me and decided to fire Kate. I waved goodbye to her and said, "Thanks for the kisses."